Let's speak to Andrei Korobkov, who's a professor of political science and international relations at Middle Tennessee State University in the United States. Professor, thank you so much for joining us. Why do you think Putin is calling up 300,000 reservists?
Well, it's a clear sign that his operation ran into serious problems on the one hand. On the other, he is raising stakes and is sending a very clear signal. After Putin spoke, his defense minister Shoigu also gave an interview in which he emphasized that it's just a small fraction of the overall number of reservists in Russia, that is about 25 million. And still, it's a very clear signal that while troops need to be replenished, and there is a preparation to a new stage of the operation that would probably be much more aggressive and use heavier weapons than before. Putin also sent a very clear signal, first of all, to Europeans that now it can be a conflict directly between Russia and the West, because these four regions, if they are included into the Russian Federation, would change the character of the war. Russia would consider any attacks on the Russian troops in those four regions as attacks against the Russian territory. And therefore, well, anything is possible. And he practically openly has stated that he would be willing to use weapons of mass destruction. Again, I would repeat that it's a signal, first of all, to Europeans. The pressure is exercised on them. It concerns gas supplies, energy supplies in general, and now also a signal that Europe might become a part, direct part to this conflict. Therefore, his signals are absolutely clear, and all this happens on the verge of a winter when energy would be absolutely necessary for both Ukrainians and Europeans. And therefore, Putin is gambling. And on the one hand, yes, it's a sign that his plans were not fulfilled and he needs to change tactics. On the other side, it's clear that the danger, level of danger of this situation is sharply increasing.
Most people expect the referendums to go the way the Kremlin wants. Even if they do, presumably most countries won't recognize those states as being independent of Ukraine. But whether they do or not, do you not think that actually it is the end of the territorial integrity of Ukraine as we know it today? Because even if nobody else recognizes those states being removed from Ukraine's control, Russia will see those territories as Russian territories, and therefore Ukraine will have to do something major, whether it's through diplomacy or whether it's through fighting, to get those territories back. So Ukraine may never be the same again territorially.
Yeah, sure. But quite frankly, it started in 2014 when Russia took control over the Crimean Peninsula and supported the de facto self-governing Luhansk and Donetsk republics. Now, you have shown at the beginning of this program a map showing the four regions that Russia is organizing a referendum in. And this map very clearly shows what's the design, what's the minimal task for Putin. It's a creation of a land corridor from mainland Russia to Crimea and cutting Ukraine completely or at least partially from the Black Sea. Ukraine is left with very narrow access. Yes, two major ports, Mykolaiv and Odessa, but most of the coastal area of Ukraine would be taken. And because Ukraine, among other things, is a major exporter, for example, of grain, it will hurt Ukraine economically, even if, well, it doesn't recognize this de facto change on the ground. So the design is clear. The question is that all for Putin, or he plans to move forward and completely cut Ukraine off the Black Sea, get to the Moldova border, and this way secure access to another self-proclaimed state, this time in Moldova, the so-called Transnistria. So we'll see how it evolves. But we see a clear change of strategic plans, change of tactics simultaneously, and a very dangerous degree of escalation of this conflict.
Professor Andrei Korobkov, thank you so much indeed, sir.
Thank you.